That's the sound of a stick shaker. It's a warning designed to get the pilot's attention that they're about to stall, lose lift. And that's the warning the pilots of Lion Air Flight 610 got immediately as they took off, only they weren't stalling. The presence of the stick shaker is one of the revelations coming from the preliminary accident report into the Lion Air crash. And much of the analysis comes from what the airplane was telling them as recorded by a sophisticated flight data recorder, one of the plane's 2 black boxes and the only one recovered so far from the Java Sea. The plane thought it was in a stall because of bad information coming from a pair of these, the angle of attack sensors that were feeding conflicting information into a system unique to the MAX, called MCAS, which was designed to prevent the plane from stalling by making the horizontal stabilizer in the back of the plane move in a direction to bring the nose down. But the bad instrument data led to a battle between the pilots and the airplane itself. On the orange line, you can see how the MAX, thinking it was stalling, tried to push the nose down, and pilots on the blue line tried to pull the nose up. A cycle that went on dozens of times, the pilots repeatedly telling air traffic controllers they had a flight control problem. The pilots could have stopped their roller coaster ride by turning these 2 switches off. That's what happened on the previous flight the day before. Those pilots also went over the trim checklist and landed safely. But it appears the pilots aboard the plane's last flight didn't use a checklist, finally nosing over and heading toward the Java Sea. 31 seconds after their last tower transmission, the flight data recording stops. The investigation will next head to Seattle in the 737 MAX engineering simulator we showed you back in 2016. There they'll attempt to conduct exercises to better understand what happened and get us closer to answering the whys in this investigation. One piece of evidence divers found in the ocean are the angle of attack sensors, but a huge piece they haven't yet found is the cockpit voice recorder that will actually spell out the drama that was in that cockpit at that point. But there is a bigger story here beyond sort of that last flight. There were 3 days of maintenance that preceded this, were things, I mean, they had other instruments that were also going haywire on them. They were basically flying blind without being, except for being able to see out the window. They actually asked for airspace so they wouldn't potentially, they didn't know where they were in terms of their altitude. Wow. So there were a lot of other things going on here, but also the safety culture at Lion Air is also changing as well, because they went back and said that other crew that faced this got the problem resolved. That was a good thing. They said they should have gone back to the airport. They should not have completed that flight.
So, Glenn, does this address the issue of this new system unique to the MAX that pilots say
the safety system.
They didn't say they knew it existed?
They didn't know it existed. We've talked to pilots from American and Southwest in particular. They're flying, among others, that are flying the MAX in the country. They say, now that we know, and this happens, then we know exactly what to do. Kill those switches, go ahead and land the plane. But one of the other things that came up here on that previous flight is that checklist didn't say, cut the flight short, go ahead and land. So there's going to be some revisions coming out of this.
I think bottom line, people want to know, with so many of these planes in the pipeline, so many of these planes flying, are they safe, bottom line?
They're safe because now everybody knows. So if you have this, I mean, so much of what pilots go through is knowing, that's what they practice for. That's what the simulators are for, hours and hours and hours on that. Now that they know this, they can deal with it.
Glenn, thank you.